Shabbat Yom Kippur, Shabbat Day of Atonement. I hope everyone is doing well today. I wanted to continue on reading with the Book of the Shamayim and finishing this, but I noticed that people didn't really want to watch the Ascension of Isaiah videos or Hala Yeshayahu. But that one and the Gospel of John are the last chapters in the Book of the Shamayim. So I was just thinking about asking you guys to maybe let me know in the comments if you guys want me to finish the Book of the Shamayim with you guys. And then the last chapter in this book is Shizeon Yahushua HaMashiach. It says underneath it, though, the revelation of JC. But just let me know in the comments if you guys want me to finish this book with you guys. Some of those books can be found in the CEPHER Millennium Edition, and some of them can't. That is why I ordered the extra books as well. Okay, so we are on Maccabeum Rishon, or 1 Maccabees 11. And the king of Mitzrayim gathered together a great host like the sand that lies upon the seashore, and many ships, and went about through deceit to get Alexander's kingdom, and join it to his own. Whereupon he took his journey into Syria in peaceable manner. So as they of the cities opened unto him and met him, for King Alexander had commanded them so to do, because he was his brother-in-law. Now as Ptolemy entered into the cities, he set in every one of them a garrison of soldiers to keep it. And when he came near to Ashdod, they showed him the temple of Dagon that was burnt, and Ashdod and the suburbs thereof that were destroyed, and the bodies that were cast abroad, and them that he had burnt in the battle, for they had made heaps of them by the way where he should pass. Also they told the king whatsoever Jonathan had done, to the intent he might blame him, but the king held his peace. Then Jonathan met the king with great pomp at Yahuah, where they saluted one another and lodged. Afterward, Jonathan, when he had gone with the king to the river called Eleutherus, returned again to Jerusalem. King Ptolemy, therefore, having gotten the dominion of the cities by the sea unto Seleucia upon the sea coast, imagined wicked counsels against Alexander. Whereupon he sent ambassadors unto King Demetrius, saying, Come, let us make a league betwixt us, and I will give you my daughter whom Alexander has, and you shall reign in your father's kingdom. For I repent that I gave my daughter unto him, for he sought to slay me. Thus did he slander him, because he was desirous of his kingdom. Wherefore he took his daughter from him, and gave her to Demetrius, and forsook Alexander, so that their hatred was openly known. Then Ptolemy entered into Antioch, where he set 2 crowns upon his head, the crown of Asia and of Mitzrayim. In the mean season was King Alexander in Cilicia, because those that dwelt in those parts had revolted from him. But when Alexander heard of this, he came to war against him. Whereupon King Ptolemy brought forth his hosts, and met him with a mighty power, and put him to flight. So Alexander fled into Arav, there to be defended, but King Ptolemy was exalted. For Zabdiel, the Arabi, took off Alexander's head, and sent it unto Ptolemy. King Ptolemy also died the 3rd day after, and they that were in the strongholds were slain one of another. By this means Demetrius reigned in the 167th year. At the same time Jonathan gathered together them that were in Yehudah to take the tower that was in Jerusalem, and he made many engines of war against it. Then came wicked persons who hated their own people, went unto the king and told him that Jonathan besieged the tower, whereof when he heard he was angry, and immediately removing he came to Acho, and wrote unto Jonathan that he should not lay siege to the tower, but come and speak with him at Acho in great haste. Nevertheless, Jonathan, when he heard this, commanded to besiege it still. And he chose certain of the elders of Yasharal and the priests, and put himself in peril, and took silver and gold and raiment and divers presents besides, and went to Acho unto the king, where he found favor in his sight. And though certain wicked men of the people had made complaints against him, yet the king entreated him as his predecessor had done before, and promoted him in the sight of all of his friends, and confirmed him in the high priesthood, and in all the honors that he had before, and gave him preeminence among his chief friends. Then Jonathan desired the king that he would make Yehudah free from tribute, as also the 3 governments with the country of Shomron, and he promised him 300 talents. So the king consented and wrote CEPHER unto Jonathan of all these things after this matter. King Demetrius unto his brother Jonathan, and unto the nation of the Yahudim, sends greetings. We send you here a copy of the CEPHER, which we did write unto our cousin Lasthenes concerning you, that ye might see it. King Demetrius unto his father Lasthenes sends greetings. We are determined to do good to the people of the Yahudim, who are our friends, and keep covenants with us, because of their goodwill towards us. Wherefore we have ratified unto them the borders of Yehudah with the 3 governments of Aphkah and Lod and Ramah, that are added unto Yehudah from the country of Shomron, and all things appertaining unto them, for all such as to do sacrifice in Jerusalem, instead of the payments which the king received of them yearly aforetime out of the fruits of the earth and of trees. And as for other things that belong unto us, of the tithes and customs pertaining unto us, as also the salt pits and the crown taxes which are due unto us, we discharge them of them all for their relief. And nothing hereof shall be revoked from this time forth forever. Now therefore see that you make a copy of these things, and let it be delivered unto Jonathan, and set upon the Kodesh mountain in a conspicuous place. After this, when King Demetrius saw that the land was quiet before him, and that no resistance was made against him, he sent away all his forces, everyone to his own place, except certain bands of strangers, whom he had gathered from the isles of the heathen. Wherefore all the forces of his fathers hated him. Moreover, there was one Tryphon, that had been of Alexander's part afore, who, seeing that all the hosts murmured against Demetrius, went to Simalchu the Arabi, that brought up Antiochus, the young son of Alexander, and lay sore upon him to deliver him this young Antiochus, that he might reign in his father's stead. He told him therefore all that Demetrius had done, and how his men of war were at enmity with him, and there he remained a long season. In the meantime Jonathan sent unto King Demetrius that he would cast those of the tower out of Jerusalem, and those also in the fortresses, for they fought against Yasharal. So Demetrius sent unto Jonathan, saying, I will not only do this for you and your people, but I will greatly honor you and your nation, if opportunity serve. Now therefore you shall do well if you send me men to help me, for all my forces are gone from me. Upon this Jonathan sent him 3,000 strong men into Antioch, And when they came to the king was very glad of their coming. Howbeit they that were of the city gathered themselves together into the midst of the city to the number of 120,000 men, and would have slain the king. Wherefore the king fled into the court, but they of the city kept the passages of the city, and began to fight. Then the king called to the Yahudim for help, who came unto him all at once, and dispersing themselves through the city, slew that day in the city to the number of 100,000. Also they set fire on the city, and got many spoils that day, and delivered the king. So when they of the city saw that the Yahudim had got the city as they would, their courage was abated. Wherefore they made supplication to the king, and cried, saying, Grant us peace, and let the Yahudim cease from assaulting us and the city. With that they cast away their weapons, and made peace, and the Yahudim were honored in the sight of the king, and in the sight of all that were in his realm. And they returned to Jerusalem, having great spoils. So King Demetrius sat on the throne of his kingdom, and the land was quiet before him. Nevertheless, he dissembled in all that ever he spoke, and estranged himself from Jonathan. Neither rewarded he him according to the benefits which he had received of him, but troubled him very sore. After this returned Tryphon, and with him, the young child Antiochus, it's okay, who reigned and was crowned. Thank you, baby.
For the dogs, food.
Yeah.
I got toilet paper too, but I can't get one now.
Sorry about that. Okay. After this returned Tryphon, and with him the young child Antiochus, who reigned and was crowned. Then there gathered unto him all the men of war, whom Demetrius had put away, and they fought against Demetrius, who turned his back and fled. Moreover, Tryphon took the elephants and won Antioch. At that time young Antiochus wrote unto Jonathan, saying, I confirm you in the high priesthood, and appoint you ruler over the 4 governments, and to be one of the king's friends. Upon this he sent him golden vessels to be served in, and gave him leave to drink in gold, and be clothed in purple, and to wear a golden buckle. His brother Shimon also he made captain from the place called the Ladder of Sore, unto the borders of Mitzrayim. Then Jonathan went forth and passed through the cities beyond the water, and all the forces of Aram gathered themselves unto him to help him. And when he came to Ashkelon, they of the city met him honorably, from whence he went to Gaza, but they of Gaza shut him out. Wherefore he laid siege unto it, and burned the suburbs thereof with fire, and spoiled them. Afterward, when they of Gaza made supplication unto Jonathan, he made peace with them, and took the sons of their chief men for hostages, and sent them to Jerusalem, and passed through the country unto Damascus. Now when Jonathan heard that Demetrius' princes were come to Kadesh, which is in Galilee, with a great power, proposing to remove him out of the country, he went to meet them, and left Shimon his brother in the country. Then Shimon encamped against Bethsarah, and fought against it a long season, and shut it up. But they desired to have peace with him, which he granted them, and then put them out from thence, and took the city, and set a garrison in it. As for Jonathan and his host, they pitched at the water of Kinneroth, from whence early in the morning they got them to the plain of Chatzor. And behold, the hosts of strangers met them in the plain, who, having laid men in ambush for him in the mountains, came themselves over against him. So when they that lay in ambush rose out of their places and joined battle, all that were of Jehonathan's side fled. So much so as there was not one of them left, except Mattiyahu the son of Avshalom, and Yehudah the son of Calphi, the captains of the hosts. Then Jonathan rent his clothes, and cast earth upon his head, and prayed. Afterwards, turning again to battle, he put them to flight, and so they ran away. Now they turned again unto him, and with him pursued them to Kadesh, even unto their own tents, and there they camped. So there were slain of the heathen that day about 3,000 men. But Jonathan returned to Jerusalem. All right, I love you all with an everlasting love, as our Abba Yahuah and the Shamayim loves each and every one of us. Next time we will be reading 1 Maccabees 12. Shalom and blessings, warriors of Yahuah and the truth.